This is KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guest today is Tim Hankewich, back after a summer off.
I'm back. You just can't block the doors enough, you know? But yeah, they let me in. I passed security.
And do anything interesting this summer? Any fun trips or anything?
Lots of traveling, mostly back and forth to home.
Okay, which is Canada for those who don't know.
So, no, alas, the season has started, so back to school.
All right, Brucemorquestra.
Oh my God!
Coming up Saturday.
Yes. Yeah, so it's not quite the 10th anniversary, if depending on how you log in your anniversaries, but it is our 10th Brucemore.
10th okay, sure.
Because our first one was literally weeks, if not a month or so after the flood of 2008.
Right.
So actually, what I just wanted to communicate to you and to your listening audience is that obviously this is a great family program, and a lot of people have a great time coming out and enjoying their picnic on the lawn. But it's what it symbolizes, and it's come into great relief as we see the destruction down in Texas. And the reason the whole Brucemorquestra idea came out was in response to the flood. It was a time when so many businesses and homes were disrupted and threatened, and not the least of which the Symphony had an existential threat. We had about 4 months of operating capital, and we didn't know what to do, if anything, after that. And before the flood, we had Beethoven 9 programmed for our season. And after the flood, we had nowhere to perform it. And so we built the stage on Brucemore, and that was the beginning of what has now become one of our most popular and successful traditions. And so as our 10th return to the lawn of Brucemore, we are performing Beethoven's Symphony No. 9 once again, and with a combined chorus from chorale, concert chorale and college choruses from Kirkwood and and Mount Mercy University. It's going to be a real great time.
So when you revisit a piece like this, I mean, and as a conductor, of course, there are pieces that you go back to time and time again.
This would be one of them.
And this, Beethoven's Ninth is something that's going to come up every few years in your career. And, if I was talking to a jazz musician, I'd say, well, what would you do to keep it fresh? And they'd say, well, solos are different. Every performance is different.
Yep.
Is every performance different of a concert like this?
It's funny you're saying that, because I was looking through the score and I was thinking the very same thing. Yes, the notes haven't changed for 200-some years. The meaning of the piece does, though. Context changes all the time, and I'll get into that. But then also in terms of interpretation. There are a bazillion ways a musician can play the same phrase. And this time around, I thought, I did this passage this one time, and I think I'll do it differently this time. And so as I was preparing for this performance, I did make conscious decisions of doing certain things differently. The balance things are differently. Some of the phrasings are different. But as I said, context matters. And one of the beautiful things of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, when we first did it in the immediate aftermath of the flood, is that the words were perfect, because the sentiment of the poetry is about brotherhood, about coming together, about rising above challenges and unity, which was the perfect message in a time where everyone was hurting so much.
Oh, guess what? And it's the perfect message now.
And it's the perfect message now.
The same and also different reasons.
Correct. And now, but there is also part of the poetry of the Ode to Joy, which is a celebration of rising above adversity, and it's also a hymn of gratitude. And as we are looking backwards, coming out of a tragedy that Houston is just now entering, it is a message now, musically and poetically, that we should not take anything for granted. It is now easy for us to look at all the great things that happened because of the flood that we had to suffer through, but it's now also our responsibility to not take it for granted and not to let things like apathy and indifference get in the way of making this community great.
Talking with Tim Hankewich from Orchestra Iowa about Brucemorquestra coming up this weekend, and as you alluded to with the orchestra organization itself, I remember when the flood happened and you lost the Paramount, we talked quite a bit about the fact that I forget the exact statistic, but something like half of all orchestras that lose their theater home fail within 3 years.
2.5 or less. Yes, and we were expecting a drop of audiences of 50% every year that we were out of the Paramount, and that was catastrophic. And I'm sure lots of businesses found the same thing in terms of their own operating budgets and profits. So to
be here 10 years hence
It's nothing short of a miracle.
As healthy as ever is a
It's
miracle.
nothing short of a miracle. But part of this program is also sharing. We're also sharing the stage with the Cedar Rapids Opera Theatre. They're celebrating their 20th year. They too were hit hard by the flood. I remember they were doing the opera Aida, and they had no place to perform it. So the fact that they're still here is amazing. And so the first half will be some opera greats, basically everything you heard on Bugs Bunny and more.
Okay.
With some of the great famous choruses, and Daniel Kleinknecht will be leading that half. And then on the second half, we get a little bit more serious and introspective with the reprise of Beethoven 9.
But again, that will feature many passages, Ode to Joy,
Absolutely.
that we all know so well.
Right, and weather permitting, and actually it's been cold a few days for the past few days, but the weekend is turning around and looking fabulous. As an encore, I'm going to make the audience sing the Ode to Joy.
Okay.
An encore. So come in good voice.
Oh,
and I want.
gosh, I'm gonna have to look up the words. Are there
that's
words?
all right. We have a screen that will.
Okay.
Just consider yourselves a very large and very elegant karaoke machine
And
with
yes.
a bouncing ball. But I want people in the audience to be singing so loud that they'll be able to hear it in Houston. So that's kind of. Because we've always had sort of a tradition of encores, and it just sort of happened that way. So what better piece than to do this?
Well, it's always a great way to kick off the season, and one concert that you don't have to worry about a sellout. So you can say buy tickets right up until...
That's right. But, parking becomes an issue because we're averaging around 4,000 people on the lawn, and one of the most breathtaking scenes is when you see people take out their cell phones at night and sort of, wave to everybody. It's just so beautiful. But parking is an issue, so come early.
That's right. Brucemorquestra on the lawn at Brucemore. If people want to get their tickets in advance, they can get them at your website, which is?
orchestraiowa.org, or you can call our ticket office at 1-800-369-TUNE, 369-TUNE.
And the indoor season begins in a couple of weeks.
Oh, my
We'll
God.
look forward to hearing all about that when you come back shortly.
I am going to talk your ear off. This is going to be a spectacular season.
I am so excited about this season.
Awesome.
So, excellent. Tim Hankewich from
Cheers.
Orchestra Iowa. Thanks again.
Pleasure.